Okay, we'll start chanting. We'll chant, you can repeat. Om Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraikapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Geetamritaduhe Namaha Karpanyadoshopahatas Svabhavaha पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यत् श्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्। श्रीभगवानुवाच अशोच्यानन्वशोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञावादांश्च भाससे गतासून् अगतासूंश्च नानुशोचन्ति पण्डिताः। विहाय कामान् यः सर्वान् पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः स शान्तिमधिगच्छति। योगयुक्तो विशुद्धात्मा विजितात्मा जितेन्द्रियः सर्वभूतात्मभूतात्मा कुर्वन्नपि न लिप्यते। उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानमवसादयेत् आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः। अहमात्मा गुडाकेश सर्वभूताशयस्थितः अहमादिश्च मध्यं च भूतानाम् अन्त एव च। भोक्तारं यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरम् सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति। ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मय्यावेशितचेतसाम् अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखः सुखः क्षमी सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिः यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः हरिः ओम तत्सत्. So we have been seeing the key ideas in the Gita, and we saw that Gita's objective is to free us from all sorrow by giving us the correct knowledge about ourselves. So, who am I? Who is God? What is this world? What is my relationship with this world? What is my relationship with Ishvara? So, by knowing these, we will be able to completely be free from sorrow. And what we achieve also we saw basically, like, Gita does not promise us any supernatural powers or a life free from ups and downs. No. In spite of life having ups and downs, we will have Shanti. So, Shanti is the main goal that Gita proposes. Shanti is what we will achieve. Okay. Complete freedom. So, freedom from desires. So, we will not be tempted by desires, we will not be moved by desires, and we will not be attached to our possessions, and we will not be self centered. So, these three, right? And when we are free from desires, and when you are free from attachments and ego, then automatically we will have Shanti. So, this Shanti is what Gita promises. So, life will have ups and downs, problems will be there in life, but you will have this peace within by which you will be able to face all the problems in life with full of cheerfulness and enthusiasm, right? Without worrying about whether the actual, whether success or failure. Even in success and failure, you will be equanimous. So that is what Gita promises. And it is both the way and also the goal, in the sense that to be able to understand the real nature of myself, I need to have certain amount of peace within and certain immunity from the ups and downs of life. Only then I'll be able to sit and meditate, and I'll be able to think deeply about all these topics. Now, so that way, like, you gradually you progress in life, and you attain to the highest. And so again, we saw the idea of who am I, the different levels of personality, and then who is God. And finally, we have come to the shloka, which is another very, very key shloka in the Gita, right? The sixth and seventh shlokas of the 12th chapter, right? Now, here, this word is very, very important word. Mayi aveshita chetasam, right? So, Mayi aveshita chetasam means a mind that is fully soaked in the Lord, fully soaked in the memory of God, in thinking of God. Now, Krishna says, if you develop this Mayi Aveshita Chetasam, then I will take care of the rest, right? I will save you from this ocean of samsara by giving you the knowledge. Okay. So the Lord Himself will give us the knowledge, and by which He will save us. So we need to, so initially, like, we had this major roadmap. We said, okay, like, I will do this, do this, do this, finally I get self knowledge and all that. So ultimately, Gita has given us a simpler approach where we just need to see how we can develop this mind which is constantly engaged with the Lord. So now, how to develop this mind to constantly engage with the Lord? Krishna gives two steps or two aspects of it. Right, both have to be practiced simultaneously. One is the Bhakti Yoga Sahita Karma Yoga. Right, Yetu Sarvani Karmani Mayi Sanyasya Matparaha. Second one is Bhakti Yoga Sahita Dhyana Yoga. Right, Ananyenaiva Yogena Mam Dhyayanta Upasate. So Karma Yoga and Dhyana Yoga, these two are the two wings of the bird of spiritual sadhana according to Bhagavad Gita. So Karma Yoga outside and Dhyana Yoga within. Right. So this is the two wings of spiritual sadhana. And we saw Karma Yoga elaborately. And yesterday we saw Dhyana Yoga also in quite detail. Now we'll continue from where we left. Almost all the major topics we covered yesterday, and so we will continue. So we saw what is the purpose of Dhyana Yoga, what all we'll be able to achieve, right? We'll be able to reprogram our subconscious mind, and we will be able to get the inner pleasure by which we will be able to get free ourselves from the pull of the senses, right? And we'll be able to develop a personal relationship with God, and meditation will quieten our mind that the knowledge will shine forth. So these are various aspects which Gita talks about, and this is a very important idea. Like, what is Dhyana Yoga? What is it called practicing Dhyana Yoga? We saw. So how we engage at three levels, right? Sri Krishna says is Mane, Kone, Bane, right? So 24/7, think of Lord in your mind, Mane. To strengthen that, at least twice a day, think of the sit and do spiritual practice as prescribed by your guru, or if you have not yet got a guru, then you can pick up yourself and you can start, right? So there also we saw three steps: puja, chanting, meditation, right? Physical, then verbal, and then mental, right? So when you do this, then you will be able to, in the sequence, you will be able to easily focus and meditate. And so that is you do twice a day, before breakfast and before dinner. And then all the other time. So, and so this is the kone, right? In a corner of the house, in a puja room, in a meditation hall, you sit and do. Then the third is that vane. So now and then you go into solitude and spend full time in spiritual sadhana, at least 1 or 2 days, right? That is also prescribed in the Gita. And Vivikta Desha, right? Arati Jana Samsadi, Krishna says in the 13th chapter. Vivikta Desha means go alone, right? In a separate place. Arati Jana Samsadi, right? Where there is no people, where there are no people. And there you sit and do your sadhana. Vivikta Desha, Arati Jana Samsadi, right? So, this is what Sri Ramakrishna also prescribes in the gospel, if you see. And so we saw up to this. So now we will go to more details about the process of the spiritual practice. So this is just an outline what we will see, which is very, very common. But of course, if your guru has given a process, that overrides any general any general procedure talked about by anyone, right? So always keep in mind that there are general instructions for meditation. All those things are fine, but then nothing can override or supersede what has been told to you by your guru. Okay, so that always keep that in mind. Fine. So before we go there, any questions? I think we had a lot of interesting discussions yesterday on how to handle the emotional problems, how to you know get over the past grudges and all the negative thoughts, right? So we had some discussions. So before getting further, maybe we can because one day I think some of you might have given some thought to it, and maybe if you have any questions, then we can address that and then we can proceed further. So let me see. Yeah, yeah, I have turned on. You can unmute and you can ask Shubdeep. Yes.
So, how do you differentiate between japa and meditation?
See,
Of course,
medit.
we know certain differences, but I would like to understand it more deeply because both
See,
there are the mental activities
mhm,
there in both.
mhm. See, meditation is a very generic term. Okay,
Hmm.
meditation is a very generic term, and there are various kinds of meditation. Right, concentration meditation, relaxation meditation, expansion meditation, value meditation, then Atma Vichara. So there are various types of meditations. Okay, so meditation is a very generic term. Now, japa is one type of meditation, and of course, japa, like we can easily say, japa is the most powerful and most popular type of meditation, right? So, japa, and next only to Atma Vichara, right? So,
So
japa is
you
the
consider japa for the like something within the meditation.
japa is one type of meditation. Yes.
So it can
Uh,
japa also can be done in multiple ways, like with fingers moving or without fingers moving, or simply
huh,
mental activities.
yes. So it becomes meditation only if it is a purely mental activity. Otherwise, it becomes chanting, right? So even if you do japa, right, with if your fingers are moving or your lips are moving or your tongue is moving, any movement in the body, then it is not meditation. It's not considered as meditation. It is basically like it is more of a parayana, or it is uh, basically like it doesn't qualify as meditation. That would be japa. Now, when you do japa without any physical movement, then it becomes meditation.
Okay, okay. Mhm.
Yeah. But japa is the most potent form of meditation.
Okay, okay. Mhm. So while doing japa also can we means of course it is recommended to follow the way the our
Mm.
guru has told us to do the
Mm.
japa, but we can do japa not necessary at the place where we are doing our like regular japa, but also otherwise, right? So means that time can we invoke the lila or the basically the words, the teachings. Is that also okay?
See, see. Okay, multiple things. Okay, so first thing is when we say japa, japa is of your guru mantra, the mantra which your guru has given. So the mantra which your guru has given, you cannot chant loudly.
Right,
Okay,
right.
okay, it has to be silent. Maximum you can just have lip movement or tongue movement and counting in the fingers without any sound. You cannot. So that is a like you cannot utter your mantra aloud, which your guru has given. Fine. So you can, which means that you can do chant your mantra only mentally, and the as I told you, like the two times a day you sit morning and evening in your puja room and you do japa. That procedure is to give you the impetus. It is to give you the force so that mentally you are repeating your mantra throughout the day, right? So throughout the day you keep doing japa. Now to give that give force to that, twice a day you sit and you do formal japa in your meditation hall or in a temple or in your puja room, wherever, right? And sometimes if your mind is not very concentrated, now you can loudly chant some other mantra which is common mantras, right? Like Maha Mantra. Hare Rama. You can keep chanting loudly, right? Or you can chant some like Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, or Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram. So this you can keep chanting loudly. So for loud chanting, you cannot use your Guru Mantra. You have to use some other of these popular chants, or any stotra or Vishnu Sahasranama or Suprabhatam or Lalita Sahasranama, like any of those things you can keep chanting loudly if your mind is not focused enough to only stick to mental chanting. If your mind is concentrated enough, then you can only do mental chanting, which is also fine. Right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Gogul Madhu, I have a
Mm,
question. I'm
mm,
just trying to reiterate what you said, just trying to confirm whether my understanding is correct.
mm,
So when you said that, combination of dhyana yoga and karma yoga, that's what is needed.
mm,
So it's something like the integrated yoga that often in RKM we, learn. I mean, we listen to, right? Like
mm,
integration of four, five other different yoga paths: Raja Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and all in one's life.
mm.
Right.
Yeah, no,
Now,
that is the way, right? Like, so basically you have, see, the four yogas are what is talked about in the Gita, right? Which is same as the four yogas taught in the Ramakrishna Math. And karma yoga you have to do when your eyes are open, do karma yoga. When your eyes are closed, do dhyana yoga. So these are the two. You divide your life into eyes closed state and eyes open state. Eyes open state do karma yoga, eyes closed state you do dhyana yoga, right? And of course, dhyana yoga is same as raja yoga, right? Dhyana yoga, raja yoga, both are same. Okay. And jnana yoga is basically like, that is the fundamental knowledge by which, like, right? That's the foundation for all the yogas, right? Where the knowledge of who am I, who is God, you read, understand why you're doing what you're doing. So all those things is there, right? And bhakti yoga also runs through both, right? It's always bhakti yoga sahita karma yoga and bhakti yoga sahita dhyana yoga, right? So jnana, bhakti, vairagya, right? These are the three things, right? So jnana and bhakti are will be there throughout, whether you're doing karma yoga or dhyana yoga. Like, the foundation is the jnana and bhakti. So all the four yogas are integrated only, always.
okay, and then you gave an example of, let's say, a body of water, and you
Hmm.
mentioned 2 points. One is like how clean is the water, and
Hmm.
how turbulent is the water, whether the
Hmm.
water is moving.
Hmm.
So, in order to make the water less turbulent,
Hmm.
we will use dhyana yoga. So
Yes.
it will be calm, and
Hmm.
to remove the dirt, we will use
Hmm.
karma yoga.
Yes.
So,
And
and then only we can see the.
yeah, the sequence is karma yoga first, then dhyana yoga. Because even to start doing dhyana yoga, you need to have certain amount of maturity in karma yoga. Only then even dhyana yoga, first thing is only then you'll be interested in dhyana yoga first. Right? But both are needed. Yeah.
Okay, fine,
Mm.
fine, fine.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, fine. Good. So we'll proceed. Mm. Okay, so this is what we started from. This we have covered. Right? So, what is the process of meditation in general? Right. So, already I have hinted, like, so basically, puja, then chanting, then meditation. So, that is what we normally, that is the way you slowly narrow down your mind, right? So, puja. So whenever, so basically the meditation process, like initially you go for something which is physical. So you have to switch your context from what you have been doing so far to your meditation. Like it doesn't, your mind is, not like a switch that you say, okay, you just sit and say, okay, meditate. Like it will not immediately settle. Like that's very rare. Um, so it'll, you need to kind of acclimatize your mind to meditate. So when you sit, so when you get into a puja room, first thing is you do some puja. So as I told you, like you can clean the place, offer some flowers, light a lamp, right? Do all that. Then like settle down still further. You put on asana, you sit, and then you love, chant some stotras, something. So you have a fixed one routine which you keep it for a few weeks, few months, and keep rotating, keep changing some routines, so that like you have a set of things which you can chant, which will help you to help your mind to settle down. Right, loud chanting is very very important. Right, then pranayama is also prescribed to settle your mind. Right, so don't overdo it. See, these are all basically, the objective is meditation, and these are just techniques to make your mind calm. That's all. Right, so when you say pranayama, like simple pranayama you can do, like breathe maximum in, right, slowly, and breathe maximum out slowly. Right, do this 4 times, that is enough. Right, and if you want to keep count, you can chant your mantra 4 times as you breathe in, 8 times as you breathe out. Do this 4 times. Right, so basically your breathing in should be half the duration as breathing out. That is the most optimal breathing routine. Okay, so you can count 4 seconds, breathe in, 8 seconds, breathe out, 4 seconds, breathe in, 8 seconds, breathe out. Do this for 4 times. Now your mind would have settled down pretty well, actually. Right? Just 4 times, your mind will settle down. So this much you do, and then wish everyone well. Okay, everyone should be happy. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Right? That's what we chant. Right? Sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Right? Let everyone be happy. Let everyone be, let everyone's dharmic desires be fulfilled. Right? You wish well for everyone. Right? Now, this is where, if you have any grudges against anyone, if you have any strong hatred or any strong things against anyone, when you try to wish well for everyone, immediately you will say, like, should I wish that person also? Now, if such a thought comes, now you know, okay, there is something for you to work on. Right, there is something which you have to resolve in your mind o- over a period of time. Otherwise, you will not be able to reach the spiritual goal. Any kind of grudge or bad feeling or regret against anyone, like that will be an obstacle in your spiritual life. Right, so you have to resolve it before proceeding. Right, maybe not immediately, but at least in the next few months you have to resolve it. You should not have any ill feeling against anyone at all. Right, you should be able to, with full heart, with full emotion, without any reservation, you should be able to say, let everyone be happy, let everyone be fine. Right, now, without any exception. Right, so you, so wishing well for everyone is like a temperature check. Is, are there any problems in your mind? Right, so wish everyone well wholeheartedly, and if there are any uh, rough edges, like, now note it down. Yes, I have to resolve this. And then, like, when you are not meditating, later you sit and you try to understand, as yesterday we discussed viveka and abhyasa. Right, like sit and understand why, what happened, why am I having this bad feeling against this person. Right, why did that person do that? And you have to resolve it. Like, you cannot run away from problems. right? Any bad feeling against anyone that you have to resolve it, and you have to clear your mind from that knot, right? So wish everyone well, and be grateful to all the people, teachers, to God, for whatever you have got in life, right? So thank your parents, thank the people who have contributed to your life, right? Spend a few seconds, right, in gratitude over to people and to God for that you have at least been given this orientation, right? This inclination to follow this. So spend some time in gratitude. And each of these things, just a few seconds, right? Not just 5 seconds, 10 seconds, maximum 15 to 20 seconds. That's all that it will take, right? Don't spend too much time. Then go for mental chanting, right? So initially we had loud chanting. So now here it is mental chanting. So mental chanting, either you can, so this is, so moment you say it is mental, now this is a part of meditation, right? Any pure mental activity is meditation. So mental chanting, like say for example, you can, so that is why you need to memorize some stotras and some shlokas and all that, so that you can do mental chanting. Because if you have a book, then it will not be meditation. If you have any physical activity, it is not meditation. So to be able to do meditation, you have to memorize some stotras, some dhyana shlokas, something, right? So, like say for example, Harshanji has composed this Ramakrishna Suprabhatam and Ramakrishna, this one, what is that, Mangala Sasanam, where the key incidents in the life of Sri Ramakrishna are covered. So they are very good for this mental chanting and Leela Dhyana, right? So Sri Ramakrishna's life in brief is covered as a stotra, right? So you can memorize it, and then you can mentally chant it, remembering the meaning and the what it is about, like, and remember, and then you can visualize mentally, right? As you mentally chant, you'll get into very, very deep meditation, right? If you do that kind of, that is why, like, even, some of the shlokas in the Bhagavatam, or, like, if you are, these are all, you meditate those stotras or shlokas, and then you mentally chant them, you memorize them, and then you mentally chant them, remembering the meaning, and you that would be a very deep meditation. And as I told you, like Ramayana, some stories of the Lord, so those kind of things, that's called Leela Dhyana, right? You can use those also for the meditation process. Now, this is kind of narrowing down your mind to some extent. After that, you can do Manasa Puja, right? So Manasa Puja is like, I told you, right? Like you have this Panchopachara Puja, Dashopachara Puja, Sodashopachara Puja. So whatever puja you learn to do, right? You learn to do outside. Now the same thing you do it mentally, right? So mentally you can have the image of the Lord, and then you can do Gandha, Pushpa, Dupa, Deepa, Naivedya, right? You can offer, like, just as you would do physical puja, you just do the same process mentally, right? Without any physical movement, absolutely purely a mental activity, right? Or you can do a pratika dhyana, right? Like pratika means like a non human form. So basically, like, you can imagine a golden yellow light in the center of your heart, right? And you can meditate upon that, right? Om mani padme hum, the Buddhists meditate, right? Like that's basically mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum is basically like in the center of your heart, a luminous light. You imagine and you meditate upon that, right? And you can do japa, right? Mental repetition of the name or the mantra of your ishtadevata, right? You can do manasa japa. And so you can also use all these Vedic suktas, right? Purusha Suktam, Shri Suktam, Narayana Suktam. You can use all those things for both loud chanting and also mental chanting, right? So all these things, basically all these things are designed, they're all there for these purposes, right? And one thing is, when you imagine the form of your Ishtadevata in the center of your heart, your Ishtadevata should be facing the same direction as you are facing, right? So the form of the Lord you imagine in the center of your heart, that form should be facing the same direction as you are facing. No, that you need to take care. And so then once you have done, spend time, and once you have said, okay, fine, like I have done enough, then again you thank the people, teachers, your God, right? Who you are, because of whom you have been able to spend this time on meditation. And then, so you can stop your practice. You offer the fruits of your meditation to the feet of your Ishtadevata, and then you bow down and you can get up. Now, mind wandering is natural. So, whenever the mind wanders, bring it back gently, firmly, repeatedly, without any regret. Okay. So, the mind's nature is to wander. Whenever you have realized that, oh, the mind is thinking about something else, gently bring it back to what you want your mind to focus on. Don't force too much, be firm but gentle, and no regret. Like, don't say, oh, what is this? My mind is wandering. I've been trying for so many years. Still, my mind is going. Like, no such regrets. Okay, because that's the nature of the mind. That is how it will be. So don't worry, right? Don't try to evaluate yourself, and don't try to, uh, do any of those things. Okay, so the nature of the mind is to wander. So whenever you realize that your mind has wandered, gently bring back and start focusing on thinking about what you are supposed to do, right? This is the process. So the mind going out and you bringing back the mind is a part of the process, right? Pratyahara is a part of the meditation process. So don't worry. Okay. Now, what are the expected outcomes? What will you get by doing all this meditation? Why do we do all these things? The first is, we will develop deep love for God and living beings, right? Especially human beings. You will have a deep love for God and living beings. Now, love for God and love for living beings always go together. If you develop love for God but not love for living beings, it means your love for God is fake. You are not on the right track. If you are on the right track, as your love for God increases, your love for other living beings also will increase. Right? So these both will go together. And you will have a deeper understanding of the truth. Right? So we have been discussing so much, right? We saw the Panchakosha Viveka, we saw like samskara, jnana, punya. So we were discussing so many concepts, right? And pure consciousness, aham brahmasmi, right? Brahma satyam, jagat mithya. So many concepts we have been discussing so far. Now your understanding of all these concepts will become deeper and deeper as you meditate more and more. Right? It will naturally happen. Because what prevents you from deeply understanding these ideas is your attachment to the body, right? Your security and pleasure seeking security in this world and seeking pleasure in this world. That is what puts a mental block in your understanding of these truths. So as you meditate, these your mind's holding on to the pleasures of this world and the security in this world will loosen. And as your mind loosens its grip on all these things, your understanding of the truth will become deeper and deeper. Okay. So you will automatically develop deeper understanding and faith and on all these spiritual truths. And your hankering after pleasure will come down, right? So you'll become free from vihaya kaman yes sarvan, right? Gita says. And also your expectation and attachment to people, objects, situations will come down, right? Like you will not expect people to be like this or like that. You will be very accommodative, right? You will be very forgiving, and you will not have deep attachments and addictions and those kind of things. And you will also be able to face situations much more calmly and coolly, right? So all anxiety will reduce, right? All those things will happen because your expectation and attachment will reduce, and you will have greater enthusiasm and resilience in life, right? So you will have a lot of enthusiasm in life to do various things, right? Because like you will be able to take your risk taking will will increase, right? Because you are not attached to things, you are not hankering after pleasure, you are not, your expectation of from things have come down. So moment those things have come down, your capability to take risk will go up, your enthusiasm will go up as a result, right? And you will be a lot more, your life will be much more enriched, right? You'll be full of life. Your entire, you'll be full of life basically, right? And your resilience also will increase, like facing your ups and downs, facing your, like let us say for example, like you are going and you want to catch one bus, you are just reaching the bus stop, and the you can see the bus has just left, like, so yeah, like I just came here, the bus left, yeah, fine, like I'll wait for the next bus. As simple as this, right? If you see an ordinary person, like he'll be cursing, oh, why did I become late? I should have come. This thing, he'll be beating himself up, and then he'll say, oh, I got late because, because my mother delayed, create, preparing breakfast, and you'll start blaming others, blaming yourself, beating yourself. That is what, like a normal person, like. I wouldn't say normal, I wouldn't say ordinary, like I would say like a person who is not spiritually developed, that is what a person will do. Blame others, beat himself up, keep overthinking. Whereas a spiritually stable person, a spiritually advanced person will say, ah, yeah, bus has gone, Ishwaricha, will of Lord, I'll wait for the next bus, right? Or if you say, like, okay, next bus will take a long time, I'll say, I'll take an auto and go. You'll start handling situations in a much more calmer way. Your resilience in life will increase a lot, right? You'll have great enthusiasm and great resilience in life, right? And you'll have greater capacity to face adversities in life. Life will have calamities, life will have ups and downs, right? So your capacity to face adversities will increase a lot. And kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya will come down. The shat ripu, right? So you will have reduced desire, greed, anger, jealousy, fear, sorrow, confusion, anxiety, arrogance. All these things will come down, will reduce as you progress in spiritual life, as you keep doing more and more meditation, right? All these negative characteristics of the mind. These are all defects of the mind. These are all defects, right? So all these defects of the mind will reduce, and your mind will become better and better as you meditate. Now, these are the expected outcomes. Okay. This is the expected outcome of meditation. So when you do meditation, you will see that all these things happen. You'll be able to tangibly see, and others also will be able to notice these changes in you, right? So, any questions before we wind up this particular shloka? Okay, if there are no questions, we'll continue. So now we'll go back to the shloka which we started from, right? So Santushta Satatam Yogi Yatatma Drida Nishchayah Mayarpita Mano Buddhihi Yomad Bhakta Same Priyaha. Right? It's very, very loaded shloka actually. Right? Ever satisfied, steady in meditation, self-controlled, firm in conviction, having the mind and intellect fixed on me, right? Such a devotee is dear to me, right? So we saw in the seventh shloka, we saw Maya Veshita Chetasam. So that here he says Mayi Arpita Manobuddhihi, right? Both are very, very, very close, right? So Santushta Satatam Yogi, right? So basically like Santushtaha, ever satisfied. Satatam means ever. Santushtaha Satatam is always satisfied, right? 24 bar 7 is you are fully satisfied. And yogi, that you are yogi, that person, yogi, yata atma, right? Self-controlled, right? Drida nishchaya, firm in conviction about all these things, whatever we have been discussing so far. And as I told you, as you meditate, your conviction in the truth, the spiritual truths will increase, right? That also will happen. And so be free from guilt, regret, grudges about the past, right? And everyone, including yourself, this is what we discussed last time, right? Like does something because at that time they are convinced about it. So if someone does something undesirable, it is because of difference in the understanding and conviction. So be free from self-pity about the past, anxiety and fear about the future. And the Lord is the dispenser of law, karma. Everything happens by the will of the Lord. So don't worry, right? So as I told you, like if you have firm faith in the Lord, then most of these problems can be easily solved. And have firm conviction about the true spiritual nature about yourself. And I am a, so we saw like the two-step approach, right? So with this, you'll be able to proceed very easily, right? And the mind and intellect, the manomaya kosha and the buddhimaya kosha, right? Those are the only two things which are conscious entities, right? Because all the other koshas are either subconscious or unconscious. You have no direct control over them. The only two koshas where you have control is manas and buddhi, right? That's why in the Gita, everywhere, whenever it talks about, anything where you manipulate, it will always say manas and buddhi, right? So, offer them to the Lord, and such a person is a dear to me. Now, this is a very beautiful concept here, right? Yaha, that Yaha, so that person who does all these things, right? Yaha santushtaha, Yaha satatam yogi, Yaha yatatma, Yaha drida nischayah. So that person who is all these things, right? Saha, that person, right? That devotee, right? Mad bhaktaha me priyaha is dear to me. So here's a beautiful idea here, right? Where we say, like, I will behave in such a way that the Lord will like me. That is actually love to the next level, right? One level of love is, oh, I love the Lord, right? Now, how do you express your love to the Lord? You behave in such a way that it is He will love you. Like if you see in the Bhagavatam, there are this Sharanagati. There are 6 aspects of Sharanagati, right? So one is the Anukulaha, like you behave in such a way that the Lord will like you, right? That is what the idea here, right? This is the idea which is there in the Sharanagati Tattva also, right? So basically, like whatever the Lord likes, I will do. Whatever the Lord doesn't like, I will not do, right? So anytime you have a tough decision to make, so you just think, okay, which option if I choose, my Lord will like best, right? Which will what if I choose that will please the Lord? Go ahead and choose that, right? Should I do this or should I do that? Like if you have a doubt, you ask yourself, right? Which of these options, if I do, the Lord will be more pleased, and you make the decision, right? And so basically, like, everything that you do, you behave in such a way that the Lord will like you, right? So in Ramayana, the Lord says, Sakriteva Prapannaya Tavasmi iti cha yachate, right? You say, oh Lord, I belong to you, right? I belong to you, and I will do only as things whatever will please you, right? And how do we know what will please the Lord? How do we know what if we do, the Lord will be happy? That is where the Lord says, right? All these things, right? Whatever we have been seeing, this is what the Lord says, right? So, Santushta Satatam Yogi Yatatma Drir Nischayah, right? Mayarpita Manobuddhihi, right? Adveshta Sarvabhutanam Maitra Karunayevacha Nirmamo Nirahankaraha. So, this list is basically for that, right? So, we have to behave in such a way that the Lord will like us. And how should I behave so that the Lord will like me? That is a description given in the 8 shlokas in the 12th chapter, the last 8 shlokas, right? So this is the about meditation. So this shloka basically covers a lot of topics on meditation, but in general, it actually, as I told you, it covers the entire spiritual path, right? And it is more of the practical approach. Fine. So a quick knowledge check. So what is meditation? Sajatiya pratyaya pravaha, right? Continuous flow of related thoughts, right? And as a purely mental activity. So all these aspects should be fulfilled. What are the purposes of meditation? We saw, right? It will bridge. It's a bridge between our conscious and subconscious minds. It will help us to reprogram our subconscious mind. It will give the pleasure internally so that we can detach from external pleasures, and it will calm the mind so that we can understand the truth. So, and it will create a personal relationship with God. So these are the purposes of meditation. What is a meditation conducive lifestyle? So we saw from waking up to going to sleep, full day you engage in the remembrance of the Lord, so that twice a day when you sit, your mind will automatically settle down, right? So without a meditation conducive lifestyle, your meditation, when you want to meditate, that meditation will not be strong enough. So your lifestyle and your spiritual routine both should will reinforce each other. What is the general process of meditation? So we saw, right? Puja, japa, meditation, then wish for the welfare of everyone, thank everyone who has contributed in your life, then do some manasa puja or lila dhyana, then do japa. And then after sufficient time, you can open your eyes and again thank everyone and get up. So that is the general process. What is the expected outcomes? So we saw, right? So you will be more calm, more cool, right? So the negative emotions will not grip you there. They will reduce. So all those things are the effect of meditation. Basically, peace of mind, right? Shashanti madhigachati. Repeatedly, Krishna says that you will get peace of mind, you will get peace of mind. How can a person be free from guilt, regrets, and grudges? I told you, when a person is doing anything, he thinks that is the right thing to do, right? That one point, if you understand clearly, then you can solve all these problems. And that is even our own personal experience, right? Even when you look back at the stupid things that we did, if you look back, you will find that when you did it, you thought that was the smartest thing to do. Now you are saying, oh, that was a stupid thing to do. And same applies to others also. So this, if you understand, you can get over all these guilt, regrets, grudges, everything, just by this understanding this one idea clearly, right? So apply the same thing to you and be free from self-pity, anxiety, fear. So all these things have to be cleared before you can sit and meditate properly, right? So these things have to be resolved. What is true devotion? So you behave in such a way that the Lord will like you. That is true devotion. Fine. So this topic is done. And what we will do in the next half an hour is we will go through a quick recap of whatever we have gone through in the past 12 classes, right? So, so basically, like whatever we have seen so far, these are all almost all the slides are just a copy of those only, right? And we'll just go through a quick summary of whatever we have seen so far, right? So what did we saw? We saw the Dhyana Shloka, right? And how we saw how the Dhyana Shloka covers all the 4 yogas. Prapanna Parijataya covers Karma Yoga, Totra Vetreka Panaye, right? Covers Dhyana Yoga, Jnana Mudraya covers Jnana Yoga, right? Krishnaya covers Bhakti Yoga, and Gita Amrita Duhe Namaha says what we will attain by the Gita, right? So there's a beautiful Dhyana Shloka composed by Madhusudana Saraswati, we saw. And we saw this, what is the goal, and we saw how, right, the evolution is pointing to going for higher and higher goals. So from lower animals to higher animals to human and to the spiritual goal, right? So this is the progression, right? The natural progression from artha to kama to dharma to moksha. So we have to establish our human nature and then go beyond that to the spiritual goal, right? To the divine nature. So the spiritual path is not something which is extraordinary. It is a natural progression of evolution. That we need to understand, right? And manifesting the higher values and freeing ourselves from the lower traits is itself a contribution to nature. So we sitting and meditating itself is a social service. That we need to understand. Just sitting and meditating, developing your concentration, reducing your anger, reducing your jealousy, reducing your ego, that itself is a contribution to nature and to evolution, because you are pushing evolution in the right direction. So a lot of people with wrong understanding will say, instead of sitting and meditating, go and do social service. So you need to understand that, yes, social service I will do, but then doing meditation is equally, and in fact, might be even, it's a bigger contribution to the society and to the universe than even doing social service, right? So sitting and doing meditation itself is a big contribution to this universe. That we need to understand. So what is the goal? Like, so we picked up this shloka, Vihaya Kaman Yas Sarvan, Pumam Sharati Nisprihaha, Nirmamo Nirahankaraha, Sa Shanti Madhigachati, right? So basically free from the threefold bondage, right? From seeking security in the world, from seeking pleasure in the world, and the wrong sense of individuality. So we need to free from all these three. And after that, we live in this world as a Jivan Mukta. So Jivan Mukti is the goal, right? Goal is here and now in this life only. We don't have a goal that after death I will go to heaven, or after death I will go to Vaikuntha, after death I will go to Kailasha, or after death I will get moksha. Like, no. We want Jivan Mukti. Here and now, when living, I want Mukti. I want to get moksha and live a retired life as a Jivan Mukta, right? That is the goal, right? Now, these three problems we saw, right? Seeking security, seeking pleasure, seeking individuality, right? The sense of individuality. Those are the three problems. And those problems are there because as that is how the world is designed, right? So designed for survival, and we need to overcome that. Don't fight against Mahamaya. That is a futile fight. Bow down to her, surrender to her, and tell her, oh mother, thank you for all these things. Now please let me go ahead. Don't pull me back. So with all thanks to these bondages because of which we have evolved so far, you say thank you for all these things. I have come so far because of these things, but now please free me and let me go ahead. Don't bind me anymore to this. Right? With reverence, so we bow down. And we don't look down upon people who are still bound also. That is very, very important. This is one thing which you need to understand. So we have this Valmiki story, right? How Valmiki composed the Ramayana. So there were two birds, Krauncha Pakshi, right? Two cuckoo birds, right? One male bird and a female bird, which were, in the heat, and they were having some nice time, right? Enjoying each other's company on a tree. And Valmiki saw that, and he was happy. And at that time, one one hunter, he shot an arrow at the male bird, which fell down and it died. And the female bird was crying around near the dead body of that male bird. And looking at this, Valmiki became so sad. His heart became so hurt. He cursed the hunter. He's saying, like, is this the time when you need to hunt? Oh, heartless hunter, right? So now this is a great lesson for us. Now Valmiki, great Maharishi, right? And with all his tapas and vairagya, that is not preventing him from appreciating the male and female cuckoo birds on the tree, right? Just because you have vairagya, just because you have developed vairagya, just because you have, gone ahead in spiritual life and all that, that doesn't mean you will not appreciate the others, still on the path, right? So if you have an arrogance that, oh, I am ahead of the path, I am beyond all these things, and these people, they are all lowly people, they are all still enjoying this world, no, immediately you will have a downfall, right? This arrogance you should not have. And just imagine, like, Valmiki, right, had that sensitivity to this male and female cuckoo bird, that he was so upset when the hunter killed one of the birds. Now, when Valmiki is able to accept, right, this in the world, where are we, right? So never be arrogant. Yes, this world has got all kinds of people, and everything has a place in this grand scheme of things, right? Now, we want to know the truth, we want to become free, and but we cannot be arrogant, and we cannot reject Mahamaya, right? You have to have reverence to Mahamaya, and you have to have appreciation that everyone has their own spiritual path, and everyone is on the way, right? Even the person who is enjoying the most lowly kinds of pleasures, he is also on the way of spiritual progress, and he enjoying that lowly pleasure is his way of spiritual progress. He is on the way. Mahamaya takes everyone by the hand through the right path at the right time for that person. So we cannot look down upon anyone at all. You can only say, this is not for me now, right? And keep going. You cannot be arrogant, because we also have crossed all these paths, right? So have vairagya, but have also sensitivity. It is very, very important that we don't become arrogant, right? Arrogance is not, uh, the moment you are arrogant, immediately you will have a downfall, right? I remember that there was one great monk in the Basangudi Ramakrishna Math, and he used to, entertain grahasthas. Like, they used to come and they used to meet him. He used to feed them, and like one brahmachari asked, like, Maharaj, these people are householders. We are brahmacharis. Why should we spend so much attention to them? And I think the Swami Yatishwaranji, I think. So Yatishwaranji, immediately he said, like, no, they are all Lakshmi and Narayana. Every Grihastha is Lakshmi and Narayana, Shiva and Parvati. You cannot look down upon them, right? So that is the attitude you have, right? So whenever you see a couple, whether it may be even, a male dog or a female dog, look them, they are Lakshmi and Narayana, right? Lakshmi and Narayana in that form, right? So every instinct, everything has its own place in this creation, and everything happens by the will of the Lord, and every jiva is on the way. And just one Karuna Kataksha, Mahamaya, even to the lowliest jivatma, if one glance of grace of Mahamaya falls on that person will immediately have the highest spiritual attainment, right? Beyond what any of us can even imagine. So never underestimate any jiva in this world, right? So you have your path, and every jiva has got their path. Be full of reverence to every jivatma. Shivani Jiva Shiva. So that is very important. Just because you want to get over Mahamaya doesn't mean you can look down upon Mahamaya, or you can look down upon even a single jivatma. Every jivatma, you have to have highest reverence, right? That is important. Now, we saw the roadmap, right? The secular roadmap where Karma Yoga, right? Spiritual but not religious, we saw, right? So basically, through Karma Yoga, you get over the world dependence for security. Through Dhyana Yoga, you get over the world dependence for pleasure. And how do you know you have broken that dependence? So equanimity in all situations will be there if you don't depend on the world for security. Control of the mind and senses will be there if you don't depend on the world for pleasure, right? Sanniyam yendriya gramam sarvatra samabuddhi, right? And that is called the yoga roda state. And from there, you go for jnana yoga to attain the freedom. So this is the spiritual but not religious roadmap. Then we saw that, right? Like, so using this shloka, we saw that yoga yukto vishuddhatma, right? And then we saw, to understand it better, we saw the 5 layers of personality, right? Annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha, anandamaya kosha. And as an individual, right, I am anandamaya kosha, but as pure consciousness, I am beyond that too, right? So we saw the 2-step process, right? The first step is I identify myself with the jivatma, that is with the karana sharira, and using that I get over my identity with the body, life, mind, and values, right? Annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha. I reject those koshas, and I will remove my identity, shift my identity from them to karana sharira or jivatma, right? So I am the wielder of free will, and I take decisions, I'm responsible for them, and my goal is to develop punya, samskara, jnana, right? Those are the 3 characteristics of the karana sharira. And to do this, I do all this japa, dhyana, social service, right? Do my duties, satsanga, everything. Now, this is the first step of the process. The second step is through the knowledge of pure consciousness. Through Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, I get over that also. This is the second step. Just like how a plane runs on the runway, pick up sufficient speed, and then it lifts off, right? So if you are practicing this whole thing in a secular way, then you have to struggle through the first step and the second step also. Whereas the Lord says, if you do it with bhakti, then it's a very graded, smooth approach. So the transition from the stage 1 to stage 2 will happen so smoothly that you will never notice, and it will all happen by the grace of God, right? So we saw self-effort, and then we saw the impersonal truth, right? As pure consciousness. We saw the 3 ideas of God, right? One is God as pure consciousness, residing in the heart of all living beings. Then the Lord as the uh, material cause of this universe, right? And then we saw God as the personal God, as the omniscient, omnipotent, and compassionate Lord, right? So we saw this idea of the Lord, three ideas of God. And when you have this idea of God as the God as a personal being, right, then we saw the various personal aspects of the Lord, right? We saw the Paravasudeva, Vyuhavatara, Archavatara, Vibhavavatara, Antaryami, right? So Lord can be worshipped through any form, name, or ritual. And what is essential is to develop a personal relationship with the Lord. Then we saw Hanuman's prayer, which Sri Ramakrishna mentions in the gospel, right? That and that reconciles everything together very beautifully. So we saw this, and we saw this beautiful illustration given in the Mundaka Upanishad, right? About the Jivatma and Paramatma, and how gradually by experiences in life, the Jivatma goes closer and closer and ultimately merges with the Paramatma, right? And we saw the Gita way, right? Etu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya matparaha ananyenaiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate. Right? Tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavamina chirat partha maya veshita chetasam. So this two shlokas is the essence of Gita sadhana, right? The spiritual sadhana, according to Bhagavad Gita, is essentially this. And this is the exactly the spiritual sadhana outline of Ramakrishna Mat also. Ramakrishna Mission is spiritual sadhana is completely in line with the Gita's approach, which is basically these two slokas. Okay. So we saw that like by combining Karma Yoga and Dhyana Yoga, by combining Bhakti with Karma Yoga and Dhyana Yoga, the Lord will take care of the rest. So we do all actions as offering to the Lord, and we do meditation upon the Lord, and by this we shift our dependence of the world to dependence on God. So from world dependence to God dependence to independence. This is what Paramarthananji puts it in a very nice way, right? He says you shift from world dependence to God dependence, and then from God dependence to independence. So this is the Gita's way of sadhana. And we saw the various stages in spiritual life, right? Artha, Artharthi initially, then Jignasu, then Jnani. And one thing you need to note here is just because a person is a Jnani does not mean that he will never come to the lower levels. He can come freely and he can move up, right? A person who is only at the level 1 will not be able to go to the level 2 and 3. A person who is only at level 2 will not be able to go to the level 3. But a person at any level will be able to freely move to the lower levels. Okay. So a jnani, predominantly he will spend most of the time in the third level, but then like he will be able to freely come down and worship the Lord, do bhajans, and even promise the Lord, if this happens, I will do this. Right? We can see in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, life of Holy Mother, right? When Keshav Chandra Sen was ill, Sri Ramakrishna said, I will offer coconut to the Lord, right? Uh, and so basically, which is fine. Like, so basically, a jnani can freely, at will, he can be at the lower levels. He can consider all aspects of the Lord without any problem, right? And yeah, so we saw the principles of Karma Yoga, right? That the universe operates on a set of natural laws, and as you sow, so shall you reap. So everything in your life is you are alone responsible for it. There is no extraneous factor. Your past decides what you are now, and your present decides your future. Right? And so give, give, give. So ensure that you always give more than what you take. So the goal is to build character and wisdom, samskara and jnana, we saw, right? And also we say like you're already deeply indebted, so you have to pay back to clear your debts. We saw the Pancha Runa and Pancha Mahayajna, right? Then Mahamaya will open up your mind for higher possibilities. So we saw what is the principle of karma. How do you practice karma yoga? Draw a circle around yourself and ensure that you always give more than what you take. And the easiest thing to give is money, right? So fix a percentage of your income for charity. Give anywhere where you like, but you have to give in charity for your spiritual progress. Spiritual progress will not happen unless you do social service, unless you give in charity. Okay, this is essential for spiritual progress. Giving money in charity is essential for spiritual progress. And do everything as an offering to God and accept everything as the will of God. So Chinmayanji puts it in a very nice way. Everything I do is my gift to God, and everything that happens in my life is God's gift to me. Right? Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, Ishvara Prasada Buddhi. This is what is Karma Yoga. Right? And everything is just between you and the Lord. There is no third entity. Right? There is a Vishwarupa Ishvara idea. Right? This is Karma Yoga. Dhyana Yoga, the purposes of Dhyana Yoga, just now we saw, right? And how to practice Dhyana Yoga. So we saw this, right? So 24/7, lead a meditation conducive life, right? And the idea of Mane, Kone, Bane, three levels of engagement with the Lord, right? It is important. So now, in the 18th chapter, Krishna himself says, now that I have told everything, now I will summarize the entire teaching again. Right? The 18th chapter, 64th shloka, if you see, Krishna says, I will summarize the teaching now for you. And he tells the 65th and 66th shloka. Okay. Now, if you look at the 1865, like 75% of that shloka is a repeat from the last shloka in the 9th chapter. Right? 9th chapter, last shloka, 934, that is the center of the entire Gita, right? The, the Madhya Ratna, right? That is the center point of the entire Gita is the 34th shloka in the 9th chapter. And that shloka is repeated again in the 18th chapter. And Krishna says, this is the summary of the entire teaching. So Krishna himself has mentioned two shlokas as the summary of the entire teaching. And so the ninth chapter version is slightly covers more ideas. So we'll use that version. So the way of the Gita, right? Again, to summarize, Manmana Bhavamat Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mame Vaishyasi Yuktvaivam Atmanam Mat Parayanaha. So this basically gives various aspects of surrender. Okay. So what all basically it talks about prapatti, surrender to the Lord, and what you need to surrender to the Lord. That is what is listed here. So it says, offer the mind to me. Okay. So manmana bhava, right? Offer your mind to me. Mad bhakto bhava, become my devotee. So offer the thoughts to the Lord and offer your love to the Lord. Mad bhakto bhava. Mad yaji, right? Do all actions for me. Offer all actions to the Lord. Madhyaji. Mam namaskuru. Offer your, bow down to the Lord. So surrender your ego to the Lord. Mam namaskuru. Then mat parayanaha. Have me as the ultimate goal. So all aspirations must be given to the Lord alone. So these are the 5 things that the Lord says you have to surrender to him. Surrender all the thoughts to him. Surrender all your emotions to him. Surrender all your actions to him. Surrender your ego to him. And surrender your aspirations to him. The Lord is the only goal in life, right? That is mat parayanaha, right? So these are the 5 aspects of surrender that the Lord highlights and says this is the entire summary of the Karma Yoga and Dhyana Yoga, right? Krishna puts it in this way. And he says, Mame Vaishyasi Yuktvaivam, right? So if you do this, then you will reach me alone, right? Mame Vaishyasi Yuktvaivam. That basically we saw, right? Like Maya Vaishita Chetasam again comes here as Mame Vaishyasi Yuktvaivam, right? Atmanam, right? So you will be able to completely do this, merge with the Lord. So this is the first shloka, first part of the spiritual journey, right? This aspect of surrender, right? You surrender all these things to the Lord. Now, to surrender all these things to the Lord, we need to hold on to our free will. We have to say, like, yes, I am surrendering to the Lord. So, in the first level, you say, I am surrendering to the Lord. I surrender my actions to the Lord. I surrender my ego to the Lord. I surrender my values, my love, my emotions, my aspirations. You say, I surrender, surrender, surrender to the Lord. This is the first shloka. The second shloka, here you surrender, you are surrendering also to the Lord, right? Even your individuality, you surrender to the Lord here. You give up your free will also. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masuchaha. So we saw artha, kama, dharma, moksha, right? 4 goals of life. So having so so basically it is assumed that you have come up, you have progressed through all those stages. Now from the dharma level to go to the moksha level, you also give up that also, right? So sarva dharman parityajya means you go to the next step, you give up dharma also. Now what do you mean by give up dharma also? You give up your free will, because free will is the core of dharma, right? So basically, we saw that initially you identify yourself as the Jivatma, and you say, I am the wielder of free will, I am the Jivatma, and I improve my karma, samskara, punya. Right? Punya and jnana, I improve. That is what was covered in the previous shloka. Right? Manmana bhavamat bhakto madhyaji imam namaskuru. So that shloka covered that part. Now, this shloka, you go to the next step where you give up that dharma also so that you can go to moksha, to the next level. Right? So that is what is meant by sarva dharman api parityajya. Right? You give up the dharma also. So sarva dharma, so it means already you have given up artha and kama. That is, and now, so giving up artha and kama, so Shri Ram Krishna always says, right? Kamini kanchana tyaga, right? So kama and kanchana you have already given up. Artha and kama you have already given up by sticking to dharma. So here, to the last step, you give up that dharma also. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam braja, right? Surrender to me alone, right? You say, oh Lord, it is you who does everything through me. I have no free will. So this is the surrender of your free will also. Complete surrender of your individuality, right? So that is the Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja, right? Complete surrender. And then he says, Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchaha. So I will free you from here. Sarva Papebhyo is Sarva Papa Punyebhyo, right? You have to consider that Papa and Punya both, right? The Lord will free you from all Sanchita Karma, right? Papa and Punya and all your karma, everything will get written off, right? Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami. I will free you, right? And then Ma Suchaha. Don't worry. Don't grieve. We started with Na Anushochanti Panditaha, right? The wise man does not grieve, right? Na Anushochanti Panditaha, second chapter, 11th shloka, that is where Gita teaching started. And Gita teaching ends as Ma Suchaha. Don't worry, don't grieve. So this is the last shloka of the Gita teaching, is this 66th shloka, right? So the teaching started with wise man don't grieve, right? Na Anushochanti Panditaha. And the teaching ends with Ma Suchaha, don't grieve, right? So this is the entire teaching of the Gita, right? So, yeah, if you want to summarize, I just picked up the essence of the Gita. What are the salient points? You are not this body, right? Life, mind, intellect. You are, these are all your instruments, and you are the user of these things. Keep them under control. Only then you'll be able to achieve your goals. Then God is the pure consciousness in all living beings. He is the material cause of this universe. He is the omniscient, omnipotent, compassionate being. He is the supreme being, and he can be worshipped through any of name, form, or ritual. And serving the living beings is service to God, and that is the best way to serve God. Develop your knowledge, skills, and serve others better. Work for the welfare of all living beings. The Lord will take care of the well being of those who serve others. Depending upon people, objects, situations for security and pleasure is a cause of all sorrow, fear, and anxiety. Do your duties depending upon the fairness of the nature and God for security. Meditate upon the Lord, right, to free you from seeking pleasure in the sense objects. And by this, you will attain peace. Real growth is free from lethargy, lust, and all these things. True knowledge of yourselves and manifesting that knowledge, right, will give you complete freedom. So accept all situations as gift from the Lord and do every action as gift to the Lord and meditate upon the Lord and see the Lord in all living beings, and the Lord will save you from all sorrow. This is the summary of the entire Gita, right? So this is the essence, right? So if anyone asks you what is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, you can just directly give this and say this is the essence. The reference to the shlokas are also there. So it is not just, independent concept. These are all what is there in the Gita. So this kind of covers the topics, the essential topics in the Gita to a pretty large extent, right? So we will stop here. And this is my blog, and you can go through the blog for a lot of similar topics and talks. And so I'll stop sharing here, and if there are any questions, we can see. Any questions?
Okay. Yeah, Gokul, I have another question now.
Hmm.
See, I was going through your practical philosophy that blog, those blogs. So, in one of those articles, you had mentioned about the evolution of the universe, and you were trying to match the evolution of the universe with our own spiritual evolution.
Yes, that's what we
Right.
saw, right? We
So,
saw the slide, right? Artha, Kama, Dharma, Moksha, right?
okay. So,
Yes.
I mean, when you are comparing, like, our own spiritual progress with the evolution of the universe, are you also trying to imagine universe as the Virat Purusha, like the God only? Like, like, I mean, because normally in a materialistic sense, universe is just universe. Let's say, I mean, if I don't involve God or something, it's just a material place and all. But when you are talking about the evolution of the universe, and then the connection with my spiritual progress, I mean that you are making universe like more like a conscious being or
Yes,
kind of,
yes. The universe is conscious being. The universe is Virat. The universe is a manifestation of the Lord. See, see, basically, like this, the entire universe is as like Taittiriya Upanishad says, no, like it's a spontaneous expression of the joy of the Lord, right? The Lord is so powerful, so potent, and so this whole, so he kind of expresses himself as this universe, and as a Leela, this whole universe is there, it evolves, right, and then keeps proceeding. Okay, so this universe is the Lord. There is absolutely no doubt about that. And by the as a Leela, the Lord evolves this whole universe, right? So it is like, suppose if you are locked in a room, right, with one big heap of Lego bricks, right? On big heap of Lego bricks is there of various sizes and various shapes and everything, and you are just locked in the room without anything. Now you will be sitting around, and then you will see this, and your creativity will get kicked off, and then you will just take those bricks, make some shapes, make something, and then you will dismantle it, make something else, right? So given the creativity, given the power, and given the material, right, just out of spontaneous expression, you will start creating things out of that Lego bricks which are available. So similarly, that same thing is happening in this universe. The Lord he doesn't need to achieve anything by this. Okay. He is full, he is complete, right? But his spontaneous expression of his creativity and power is what this universe is, right? Creativity, power, and his joy, his, his, that is what expresses as this whole universe. And out of sheer Leela, just as how you will take these Lego bricks and then build it, and slowly, like, you might have something in mind, right? You might say, I'll build one aircraft carrier. So you keep building out of that Lego bricks. Slowly, that shape will evolve, and finally, it will become the aircraft carrier which you are trying to build. So this is the evolution of this universe, right? So by the will of the Lord, as an expression of his creative power, as an expression of his joy, as an expression of his power, this universe is evolving, right? So that is what this universe is. And the evolution of every jiva is a part of the universal evolution, right? And it's all the Leela of the Lord.
Okay.
The material evolution is a part of the whole evolution. The scientists look at only the material evolution. Now, that is just only one aspect of the evolution of the whole thing. It is included, but it is not restricted to that.
Fine.
Thank you.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Sir, if there is God's will, then only we can attain mukti. Then how we have to proceed in our spiritual life in order to attain mukti?
Pray to God, right? So whatever we have done so far, whatever we have been discussing so far, that is what we have been seeing, right? Like, so he says, you do all these things and you will be my bhakta, right? Same bhakta me priya, he says, right? So adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna yevacha nirmamo nirahankaraha, right? Samadukka sukha kshami santushta satatam yogi. This is what he is supposed to do. He has given the list of what you need to do, right? Do karma
Okay.
yoga, do dhyana yoga, do all these things. He will be happy. And
Once
that's
we are
it.
doing this, how long it will take to attain that Jivan Mukti states? As you mentioned, we can attain in the lifetime itself.
Huh.
Minimum how or maximum how many years or how long it will take to attain that Jivan Mukta states?
That is his will, right?
That is his way.
That is the Lord's will, right? If he wills, you become Jivan Mukta at this moment only, right?
Okay.
It is all his will, right? And see, thing is, the whole journey is enjoyable. You have to enjoy the journey. It is
Okay. Okay.
okay. See, Jivan Mukta, yes, they become a Jivan Mukta, but then, like, the right from day one, your entire journey itself is a joy, is an enjoyable journey, right?
Okay.
Understood?
Okay.
See, suppose like you are going to from Mysore, you have booked a resort in Bandipur in the jungle. Now, yes, you have booked a resort in the jungle in Bandipur, but then right from the time you start from Mysore, right, you get into the cab and then you start going, you watch Kabini, the beautiful Kabini river, and then you cross Kabini, you go to Nanjangud, you see the beautiful temple, and then you keep going, and then you go through the ghats, the beautiful forests, you cross, you go. The whole process, the whole journey itself is enjoyable journey, and the
Okay.
journey is not different from the destination, right?
Mm.
See, just to stay in the night, you have booked in the resort,
Mm-mm.
but your tour starts from the moment your vehicle starts,
Okay. Okay.
not only after you reach the resort. Understood?
Okay. Okay.
The
Okay.
whole journey is equally important as the destination, right?
Okay.
Because your co-passengers, you spend nice time with your co-passengers, the people with you, right? Your co-sadhakas, right? And
Mm-mm.
you sing bhajans, right? Read nice books, sing to the listen to the glories of the Lord, listen to the stories of the Lord, do meditation. The whole process itself is a part of the whole thing, right?
Okay.
You enjoying this itself, you are a Jivan Mukta only, right? The moment you have that is the goal, the whole process becomes the life of a Jivan Mukta only.
Okay.
Understood?
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Gokul.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gokul. I think it was like a long pending one for me, at least. I've been requesting this. So thank you very much. Looking forward to many more of this so we kind of
Yes.
spiritually improve.
Thank you, ma'am. So this kind of ends this series, okay? And so Anand Maharaj said like next week also he has asked me to take the class. So we will take another independent topic. I'm still thinking whether to take some selected shlokas or we can take the 12th chapter like next Saturday, Sunday. So we will, I will take, and maybe let me think about like which one to take. So we will see. So I think, yeah, we will end here. We will chant Om Shanti and we will end. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Ram Krishna. Jai Ram Krishna.